I hear this loud bang followed by a sploosh. One of my
That's never good working in a pet store.
no, one of my customers had decided to move the large step ladder. It's not that large, but it's like a little giant ladder, so it's a pretty well built ladder.
Can you tell us a short version of this on the thing? Because like that blurb at the beginning is I heard a bang and then a loud sploosh. It would be fantastic for that blurb.
All right, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's the On the Button podcast. This is episode 7. 7? 7. Somebody check me. I'm pretty
7, 8, 6, one of those.
7. It's a new episode, guys. Welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing
fantastic.
Great.
Excellent.
It would have been better if we'd done this last night, but no.
Wow.
We had to go have some emergencies and not show up, and
something, having a job, something. You'll get over it.
Oh my God. I gotta pay that mortgage, baby. Those checks gotta clear.
I was gonna say those Star Wars Unlimited cards aren't gonna buy themselves, and they aren't free.
No.
So just saying. All right, well, welcome in, guys. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I ran away,
especially.
Yeah. I ran away to the Minnesota Regional and did a whole big stream for a couple days up there, which was a lot of fun.
Anything notable happened while you were away? Because I didn't see very much of it at all. I've been busy with graduation stuff.
Yeah, so it was a really, really good event. One of the things that I liked, I mean, Ian, you were there with me in Denver. You remember, I'll be honest, you remember how kind of sad that prize wall was, right?
But they made, from what I understand, according to people that I've heard online, they made some very quick adjustments.
Big changes.
And it got way better, and they handed out a lot more tickets.
Big improvements.
So was it sad because of how expensive everything was, or was there a lack of stuff on it?
Yes
and
to
lack
both.
Of tickets
oh, so it was just sad all the way around.
Yes to both.
It was
So think about this for a minute. 100 tickets, Trey, you and I would equate that, if you think back to the old GQ days for Destiny, right, would be about $5 worth of tickets, roughly, okay? The T-shirts in Denver, just a plain white T-shirt with the Star Wars Unlimited logo, or a plain black T-shirt with the Star Wars Unlimited logo on it, was 1,400 tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
They were 2,000 for the mats. This was on day 1. They dropped the mats down to 1,000 for day 2.
Yeah.
What's up with these JRPG numbers? Oh, it's 10,000. It's up in yen. Are they measuring it in yen?
I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, it was
a ticket, 5 tickets.
It was crazy. So this time around, not only was there more variety, there was a lot of stuff there. They actually had, so not only do they have all the regional mats, like the artwork, all that you saw on the website, they had the sleeves. They had Piet sleeves, Executor sleeves, Plu Kloon sleeves.
Ooh.
They had the aspect pins. They had the set pins. They had not only the regional OP promos, they had the sector OP promos as well, which was really nice. So for people who couldn't make it to the sectors, you could get those promos in Minneapolis. Then the FFG guys brought in a lot of promo stuff to put on the wall. The big oversized cards from set one, like the Avenger and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Those were all available. Some of the stand-up stuff that like store displays and stuff for like Twilight of the Republic, and I think there was a couple from Shadows. All of that was available.
Hand out for free to stores to promote it at the beginning.
Correct. All of that was available. There was a lot of stuff on that prize wall.
That's cool.
It was really
that sounds
neat.
great.
It was actually really well done. They had a lot of great stuff. So, if you were playing events and earning tickets, you had no shortage of things to spend your tickets on.
So this goes back to one of the things that we've discussed before about how responsive they're being to the community and seeing things that need changing and fixing it. That's really
big improvement. Big improvement.
Go. Sorry, Wes, not to cut you out. Makes me super excited for Vegas.
You literally said exactly what I was about to say.
Super excited.
Which is seeing that in person makes me a lot more excited to go to Galactics now.
Colorado made me think twice about whether I would enjoy Vegas as a player, because I really enjoyed casting it, but like as a player, I would have been pretty disappointed. because I would have gotten slaughtered in the first day and probably
Yeah.
just had to play a lot of side events that weren't there.
Yeah, but
So
no,
I'm glad to see that they really changed it a lot.
they've done a lot of good work. They were also doing carbonite drafts, which seem to be fairly popular on day 2.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would have been so hard.
They ran one of those, and I think it sold out, so they added another just spontaneously. Like, hey, this was popular. Let's do it again.
$75 though. Whoa.
Yeah, it was actually really cool. So I ended up super huge shout out to some of the KTOD Discord VIP tier guys. Really kind of took care of me because as a caster, I don't get to earn tickets all weekend. I'm stuck. I'm not playing. Right? There's a handful of us that are there, but we don't get to earn tickets, and we aren't given anything. We just show up, do our casting thing, pack up, and go home with a pat on the back. But like about 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday, a couple of them come over and they said, "Hey, is there anything you want off the prize wall? We've got extra tickets." And I said, "I heard good things about that bounty hunter quarry mat," and they were like, "Okay." 5 minutes later, comes back, hands me one. Which was really cool. And I got the story behind that later. One of the ladies had been playing in that carbonite draft and pulled a Phasma showcase and didn't want it. She's like, Phasma, I don't care. So she traded it to somebody else in the draft pod for a pile of tickets, and then those tickets became the mat that I ended up with coming home with, which I thought was really cool.
Nice.
So you got another Phasma showcase.
Well, sort of in a weird way.
They traded it around. And it's when they talk about sports, and they talk about trades in sports, like this team gave up this and this for this, and then they fill it out with everything. They gave up this one player, even though
I saw that mat in person. I would have traded it for a fast.
Yeah, that's a great looking mat. That's a great mat. I was glad I picked that one. Stream went really well. We had I got there on Friday. Setup was no problem. Was no big deal. I mean, Ian, you remember meeting Ward in Denver? He was there again.
Yeah.
At this point, we know each other. I was just like, "Hi, how's it going?" He's like, we arranged his tables the way we wanted it. I did all my setup on Saturday.
Did you miss your cable guy?
I did. Cool thing happened though, right? I was in the middle of setup, and a couple of guys showed up early for the judge meeting. And they were like, "Hey, can we help you at all?" And I was like,
"Nice.
You want to pull cables? You want to pull cables?" So literally, they're over there rolling out HDMI cables. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So that was really nice. I got them to run the cables for me.
Nice.
And then by 4:00 Friday, everything was like functional, like no problems. I did a couple of tests. I uploaded some stuff off the hotspot to check the speed. We were great. Saturday was rock solid. I had no tech issues at all. We did the full, basically 11 hours end-to-end stream without a break, without a failure, without a Discord, an OBS crash, nothing. That was apparently all the karma I had for the weekend. Sunday we had some issues. Some of them were self-inflicted. I made a mistake and let the Wi-Fi hotspot literally run out of power midstream, which is dumb. And then Verizon cut me off about 2 hours after that. They're like, "Oh, you're out of data." I'm like, "No, wait, how is this possible?" Anyway, I think I know what caused it. But we got it running, and we caught all the gameplay we wanted to catch.
So what about the event itself? How did that go? Anything novel or interesting happen at that?
I mean, we had a really good event. There were 600. Oh, there's definitely drama. There's always drama when there's people. We had I think it was about 630 players all in. I believe that was the final total.
Really good top 8.
Really good top 8. The overall field on day 1 was no more like the most played leader was Sabine at like 10%, like 10.3. It was like 10.3% Sabine, 9-ish% Quinlan, 7.5% Han, and so on. So like it was back to looking like the field had kind of earlier in the season, right after Django got the kicked in the nuts, right? The Richmond field was very, very balanced.
Yeah.
And this had the same feel to it. So the meta is still in a really good place. We had the top 8. The only repeat deck we had in the top 8, there were 2 Quinlans. Everything else was a one-off. So you had a Sabine, 2 Quinlans, a Kira, a Cad Tarkentown. I'm going to forget the rest off the top of my head. But it was a nice variety. And then in the end, you had You had a Ray Dataval.
Ray Dataval.
Yep. So in the end, the winner was Wu, of course, over there with he won on Kira Datavolt, which he had been playing like a champ all weekend. Like we watched him in day 1, I think about round 4 or 5.
He had won a PQ earlier.
He
with
recently
that
won a
leader.
PQ with that either that list or a very close to it, and then
Close to it, yeah.
And then we watched him on day one, and it was like watching John Williams conduct the symphony, right? He was just like, every time his opponent tried to do something, it was like, no, like it was crazy. It was just he had, like sometimes you play Cody playing Kira, and he just always has the card he needs to blow you out or to stop what you want to do and keep you locked off the board. It looked like that. And so
I ran into that at a showdown that I played in.
Yeah.
And just everything.
Yeah. So at the end of Swiss, he was 12-1, and he ended up winning the whole thing. I guess to kind of to answer your question about drama, the kind of the only two things that would stick in my mind that people have talked about is, the ID rules played a big part of this event. The intentional draw rules. We got down to round 13 of Swiss. And you would expect the people at the top of the field to kind of look around and go, oh, we can all ID. They almost all did, except Wu and Chris Lewis were playing. Wu at the time was undefeated, and nobody else had less than 2 losses. So he was 100% locked.
Same with Ray, who made the final. He didn't take an ID. He didn't take an ID. But at the same time, the reason that Wu did it was because he was trying to win to knock Chris Lewis's standing down and allow his teammates a better chance to make sure they made the top cut. So basically, they talked about it, and I'm sure Chris said, "Hey, do you want to ID?" And in the end, Ophir said, "No, I want to play." And the reason he was playing was to try and help his teammates, make sure they made the cut or make it into the top of the standings.
Yeah, perfectly valid.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't coerce someone into taking a draw or an ID. Like that's already collusion. You can't offer them anything. That's collusion. You can basically say, hey, do you want to? And if they decline, you're playing. And that's what happened. But that caused some consternation because there is a subset of the competitive community that sees that as like intentionally manipulating the standings or whatever. Yeah, you and I are in the same.
Somebody's always going to be mad about something.
I know. You and I are in the same place on this one in the sense of it's. And the other thing is, it's like you can't. I mean, if you have ID rules, you can't stop it. Like if the rule exists, it's going to get taken advantage of for someone's benefit. That's
it's going to help somebody hurt somebody.
100%. You can't stop it. The only way to stop it is to remove the rule and go back to the dumb double losses. Like that's where you're at. The other thing that happened that I know has caused some head scratching and consternation, there was only one semifinal match actually played. When the dust settled after the quarterfinal round, there were 3 of the top 4 players were all from the KTOD team. You had Alex Blandon, you had Ophir, you had John Tata, and then you had Ray Tan. Ray was not a member of the team, but the other 3 guys are all KTOD members. And
so this is top 4. So this point, we've played the top 8. We've played the top 8. Yeah, we're in the top 4. Yep. 3 of these guys are KTOD. Cool.
Right. And so Alex and Ophir are paired up, and they have apparently played this match before. They played it recently at a PQ or something. I think they played even in Swiss in this event back earlier in early in day wars, somewhere along the way in day 1. And Alex is like. Alex is like, it's fine. I don't care. He can have it. And he just scoops. He just concedes the semifinal match. Now, again, that's totally illegal. The rules allow for concessions. You can't stop him. His opponent's not allowed to refuse. It's a unilateral decision, and he doesn't have to explain himself. But man, a lot of people really upset by that.
Okay.
I don't love it.
Why?
I mean, personally, I'll tell you, my personal opinion is that if you should have to play it out. You're in a top 8, right? It's like you have a chance for the finals. I think you should play it out. And the other thing is, the only person I feel bad for is the person who he beat to go into top 8.
Don't you get different prizes for top 4 than you do for top 8?
Slightly, but it's like the mat, instead of saying top 8, the mat says top 4. So it's the same mat or the same promo card. It just says top 4 instead of top 8. Like, I don't know.
So he got some, even though he scooped in the top 4, he still got something for winning the top 8. I mean, that does not convince me otherwise, but it's not like it was an even wash on prizes.
Theoretically, the top 4 stuff is somehow more valuable, I guess, because it's rare.
Oh yeah, it is. But definitely, because there's half as much.
Sure, but is it? Yeah. So Ian, you're not alone, right? There's a lot of folks that feel that way, that feel like should have been played.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's I'm new to this, right? I've only been playing for this. I've played in a few store showdowns, which are very small. I played in 1 PQ. and this would be my second PQ, right? So I've never really played in like these large tournaments. So it's different when it's like 600 people. I understand both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, though, I don't get it. If there's a 1 in a million chance, I've played this matchup with him before, right?
Mm-hmm.
If there's a 1 in a million chance I think I'm going to win, I'm going to play it.
Mm-hmm. And that's
just my personal opinion. And that's,
Sure.
I understand scooping, right? I mean, you scoop because you know you can't, like, he probably knows. I've played this matchup with him a bunch of times. I have a very low probability. I think it also gave, I'm not going to say gave Ophir an advantage because he's a great player. I love Wu. First of all, let me say this. The only thing I've won in Star Wars Unlimited is because of Wu. He put out a JTL pre-release guide. I followed it to the T. Won 6 Carbonite packs, 12 Twilight, 12
I remember
Spark packs. Best I've ever done. Having that rest, I bet, really helped him, right? Because Ray's in there battling it out because he's been battling all day. To have an hour to just refocus, I bet felt really good, and I bet he felt pretty fresh going into that game.
It's entirely possible.
So I see both sides of the coin. You know, it's within the rules though, so you can't. It's a legal thing. So I mean, there's nothing you can do, and sometimes it's going to give somebody an advantage, and somebody's going to give somebody a disadvantage.
And the other thing is that, you know, concessions of that nature, of any nature, at any level, at any tier of play, right? Whether it's Swiss, Top Cut, PQ, Showdown, whatever, concessions will always be legal. They'll always be in the rule set because at the end of the day, none of us are paid to be here, right? You can't compel somebody to play. This isn't professional sports.
You must.
You know? Literally, this isn't professional sports where you can't just say, you know,
I take it that serious, though.
You have a contract. You have to get out on the field because you have a contract. No, there's none of that here. It's ridiculous. To imply otherwise is silly.
I don't have another way of being athletically competitive in anything.
I am
the two
not
of
an
you
athlete.
have met me. I am 5'5", completely unathletic, and just am not a big human. So this
That's
is like
why
my
I like
only.
you so much. I'm never threatened when you're around. I know that if you get uppity, I can just put a stop to it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So
I had in high school, I had a lot of friends, and this is true. In high school, I had all of my friends were 6 foot plus, and when I would get uppity, they would literally just pick me up, put me someplace else, and be like, bad. There was really nothing I could do because in high school I was even smaller and probably 50 pounds lighter. So
That's amazing. But anyhow, so there was the interesting thing that I take away from all of it, right? And this conversation is still ongoing. Several different content creators have made videos about it. Ray made a video today that was very short. It was less than 5 minutes.
Fantastic.
I thought it was a great video.
video.
I was very, very glad to see Ray chime in and basically say, here's my opinion because I'm the person who was probably most affected by all of this. And, you know, but what I love about it is that I lost my train of thought. It's gone. But anyway, so I liked seeing Ray's opinion. I like that everybody. Oh, I found it again. What kind of surprised me is that, you know, the people who were there, that all of this decision making actually impacted. Like nobody seemed upset, right?
Nobody cared.
I didn't see
that's literally everything in the world always, though. Like the people who are involved in something, the world is full of people who get offended for other people.
Yes. Like I didn't see.
If you want to have something to say about it, put some skin in the game and then we'll listen to you.
At no point did I see someone screaming for a judge, you know, talking to a judge, talking about how all of this was horribly unfair and couldn't be allowed to happen. And nobody protested anything. Like I saw none of this. And I'm in the room, you know, sitting 20, 30 yards from these people. And it's like, I would feel like I would have said something. I feel like, I mean, of course, as a streamer, we're working with the judges to, you know, set people on the tables and they're super helpful. Like, I feel like if somebody had said something that one of the judges would have mentioned it, like, oh, by the way, you know, this was so-and-so was kind of really upset that this happened or whatever. Like, you know, but I heard none of this. So like, why are people upset on behalf of other people? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. From what I understand is everything was within the guidelines of the tournament rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, great event. Looking forward to Galactics for sure. And of course, we've got some PQs coming up in here in Houston, so I'm not done streaming stuff yet. Trey's going to work the Houston PQ with me here in about 10 days or so, 2 Saturdays from now on the 7th of June. And then Ian,
I will be getting slaughtered in that PQ.
That's right. You're going to be there. Ian,
why do you keep saying that? Are you just not? Are you not happy with the deck?
So I've been playing Piet Red, like basically exclusively Piet Red. I took it to a store showdown. I ran up against Han Green, slaughtered. I ran up against Kira Green, slaughtered. I ran up against Ray Green, 32 health, died. 32 health, died. 32 health, died. So
can you not take a different deck? Like, you don't have to play this deck.
Yeah, I'm gonna build a Quinlan deck. I've played Quinlan before, so it's probably the meta deck that does pretty well, that I'm most comfortable playing. So I've been playing that for the past 3 days.
Force throws and hand destruction are still good, man. Like, that's still a solid play. So
it was just so. I got last place in the showdown out of only 11 people.
Oh.
But
we should release something for you to do better in showdowns.
or play his Kira Green deck. I got 3 packs as a consolation prize, and I did pull a wedge showcase out of one of those packs.
There you go.
So I felt like I lost but won.
Okay. Indeed. Indeed. So what else are we going to talk about, gentlemen? What else we want to hit?
I want to talk about, we all played a draft 2 nights ago.
Sat next to each other.
And we all sat next to each other. And I find this fascinating. I love Limited. I love drafting. I love looking through packs and making decisions. And like I want to know, like, I know I did this and this is why I did this. And then I handed it to Ian. And somehow I cut blue super hard. Like, I started taking all the blue cards, and yet Ian ended up very, very blue. So I'm like,
Wes kept passing me all the blue cards.
I didn't want blue.
You were to my left. You were to my left. So I was giving you 2 packs worth of cards, including the first card. The first pack all went through me. All right. So we play this draft. So we go up to our local at Dragon's Lair on Tuesday, and we're going to have a draft. We ended up with 11 people, which is a really weird number of people. So it was 1 pod of 11. So I randomized the seating. Wes, Ian, and I all sit next to each other. I'm sitting in one seat. Ian's to my left, and Wes is to his left. And so then we just we start drafting. You open all 3 packs. You pull your leaders. Those go right. Pack 1 goes left. Pack 2 goes right. Pack 3 goes left. So I ended up with 3 leaders, and I was actually kind of interested in. I've drafted before, quite a number of times, but I've never ended up with like this kind of setup. So I had Rio, which is yellow black. I had Wedge, which is green white, and then I had Piet, which is green black. And so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, even hero or villain, and I wanted to leave myself open. So I started my first pack. I looked for something that didn't fit with any of those. Like, I wanted to draft something that would fit with any one of those 3. What I get into that. So the first card that I took was the CR90 Relief Runner, which is just a blue capital ship.
Yeah,
so it works in green white with pilots. It works in yellow blue or yellow black with pilots, and it works with Piet. And so like that was kind of my trek that I went through to pick cards. So Ian, like, what did you ended up with Thrawn, and we played in the event, and you ended up with what felt like a constructed worthy Thrawn red deck.
Yes.
What were you looking at when you drafted?
So, I mean, I had Thrawn. I can't remember the other 2 leaders I had. I had 2 villainy leaders. One was Thrawn, and the other was a red leader. I think the ship guy.
I think I passed you a Von Reg.
Yeah, I think I Major Von Reg, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play villainy, blue, red, some sort of archetype put together. I didn't get enough fighters, like small level ships, that I thought I could build Von Rek. So I started taking when defeated cards, because there was a lot of red when defeated cards being passed my way. Picked up a couple of blue ones out of the first pack. I don't think I ever have a great draft deck. This was probably my strongest one. My 2 losses were against you and Anthony, and you both made, from what I understood, undefeated up going into that.
Right.
Into that matchup. But
I didn't think I was going to win a single game. I ended up winning the draft. I went 4-0. I didn't think every game that I played was completely nail biting, like down to the last moment.
I feel like I beat myself versus you. by saying I wanted to take a playback.
I played Katie, and all Katie has to do is claim, and she wins the game. And she like played something, and I was like, "Give me that token!" And like then I beat her. And so like it was every one of them was that close. You probably made like one mistake. So I was playing. I ended up blue and yellow, and it was almost solid yellow. But it was funny. I like after my first 3 or 4 cards, I had blue capital ships and yellow capital ships, neither of which go with Piet, who wants capital ships. So I had somehow like put myself into a place where I have all the cards for Piet, but none of them are going to work.
Yeah.
No green at all. So I ended up with Rio, and then I ended up with like 75% yellow cards. So
Rio's really good in limited.
Well, I don't think Wes or I don't think we're playing yellow, right?
No.
I played blue-red. I played blue-red. What did you play?
I ended up on Von Reg green. My leaders that I pulled, I pulled a when I opened packs, I pulled a Von Reg, a wedge, and I might have been 2 Von Regs and a wedge, I think, actually, now that I look back on it. And I ended up passing those away, and that's literally the same leader pool I ended up with. And I had never played Von Reg before. I was like, I wanted to play Von Reg. I thought I would try to pair
I took his ship from you.
Sorry. I thought I would try to play him with yellow, but that didn't work. I couldn't get yellow cards consistently.
I'm sitting here staring at all the yellow cards you didn't get.
See my point. So
they're sitting in like I got past like I ended up with 4 Zygerian Starhoppers.
Hey, that's really good.
Ship.
That's really good.
They just started. They like came like, and this was not like I took them second or third.
I didn't
or fourth.
see a single one of those.
Ninth,
so yeah,
10th?
that would have been nice.
I ended up with 3 Death Space Skirmishers, which is the all-star.
That's a great card.
Of all the
That's
cards.
a great card.
The 3/3 flyer that taps something down.
Mm-hmm. So in the end, I ended up going green, and I ended up with a couple of like an couple of MC30s, and I think I had one of the clone squadrons. I had a decent draft. Like it wasn't a terrible deck. Yeah. I ended up 2-2. One of my losses I probably could have won if I'd played a little better. Trey was catching me at the end of that game. Like I think you should have just raced him. And I was like, yeah, I probably should have. And it is what it is.
Yeah, I felt like that. Like you drafted this super aggressive guy, and then I watched you get halfway through your game and feel like you were falling behind, so you switched to control briefly.
Yeah,
and then you couldn't race him.
Right. Yeah, it was basically something.
I feel like this was the first time I felt pretty solid. I had 14 when defeated.
Oh, your deck
cards.
was nuts, Ian.
I remember that. Yeah, but it wasn't good enough. I lost to you and Anthony.
You lie. That's not the deck. That's you. I want you. I'm sit down crossing this guy, and he plays red base Thrawn 2, and his opening turn goes Stormtrooper,
yep.
Like 2-1, and that's how he started. And then it was just pedal to the floor the rest of the time. You know what my all-star was in the game against Ian? Trace Martinez. I'm looking at it now. Trace Martinez is the one, it's like the chick with the big poofy thing on her head. It's a pilot that nobody ever plays. And there are a couple of cards that I drafted that I was like, oh, I could use this pilot, and ended up never playing them as pilots. And they were all-stars for me. I didn't think I would ever play them not as pilots, but I played them every time, not as pilots. So Trace Martinez is blue. She's like for 3, but she's a 2/5.
Mm-hmm.
So against Ian, I was like, oh, I'll just throw this down and I will eat all of his stuff on the ground, one right after the other. And she was great at it. It was fantastic.
My mistake was I thought Rio flipped on 6, not 5.
You know what? That's where you screwed up against me.
So I made a play and I said, shit, I want to take that back. Now, Trey has a rule. If we're playing for anything, 1 pack, 50 cents, a stick of gum, he will not help you. He will not allow you to take a playback. He will not allow you to do anything. Yeah.
We're playing for money. It's prison rules.
1 shiny penny.
Prison
nothing.
rules.
It doesn't even have to be shiny, sir.
So I say I want to take that back, and he's like no, and I was like, okay, that's fine.
I didn't say no. I just looked at you, and then you went, oh, never mind.
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, I forgot who I was playing.
What he said was
he flipped his leader onto the ship that I should have taken out.
I got to describe this. I have a ship up.
No, because he's got another ship. Cussing.
Yeah, no. And so he makes a play. I don't remember what he did. He did something, and he goes, "Hey, let me see Rio."
Something real stupid.
And then he looks at it, and he goes, oh, he flips on 5. Oh, can I take that back? And I just looked at him, and he goes, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Oh yeah, never mind. I forgot who I was playing against.
So if Ian had not said that, I would not have immediately put Rio on the ship. But because he was so flabbergasted and admitted that he made a mistake, I was like, okay, he doesn't want me to do that, and that means that's the thing I want to do. So I put Rio on whatever ship it was. Death Space Skirmisher or something. It was. I know it was on one of these Zygarrian Starhoppers, one of these little guys.
Mm-hmm.
But he had something that kills something that a non-leader unit, and so that
direct hit.
Rio on that dude just went to town and beat him down.
I genuinely feel like Rio's a little slept on. Like, he is not a bad leader at all.
Mm-hmm.
If I had hit that ship, he would have put out another ship, put Rio on that ship, and it would have been exhausted. I lost by 3 freaking health, Wes. That was
hold on.
7 damage is what that cost
It's not
me.
just if you had hit that ship. It's not hitting not hitting the ship. It's
saying it out loud.
It was saying it out loud. It is giving it away, not having a poker face. If you had made the mistake and then just had a poker face about it, I would have done something else, and then it wouldn't have mattered. So this
I wanted to pick up my card.
What I just learned there,
and you hadn't played one yet,
was every time I go to play Unlimited, carry a bag of pennies, and when I play Trey, put one on the table. So that we have table stakes.
Well,
exactly.
That's actually not a bad idea. Play for my dollar. It's probably a better idea, actually.
So I want to talk more about my games.
Okay.
I want to talk more about my games and my cards because they're so exciting. So the next one. So after I crushed Ian and sent him home crying.
No, Anthony sent me home crying this time.
Anthony's deck was dumb.
As a side note, I love you and Anthony's dynamic. You and Anthony's dynamic just cracks me up because Anthony and Ian I'm sure they're good friends, but they just talk smack to each other across the table,
across the room,
across the room. Just like, I'm only here. It's a lot of Anthony. Anthony's like, I'm only here to beat Ian. I'm going to beat Ian, and then I'm going to leave. And then I want to send it. And Ian's like, oh, you're not going to beat me. I'm going to send you home. It's hysterical to listen to you two go at it.
We've become really good friends over the last year.
Awesome.
Sorry, we've become really good friends over the last year. Yeah.
All right. So we were. I don't know if it was in the draft or I think it was during the round prior. I heard people were discussing it, like, what's the best thing to play? Like, what is the most strongest deck in this format and in limited? And the consensus was that it's Luke Green. Like, if you can get the cards for Luke Green.
In sealed, it was. Really I don't know if it is in draft, but sealed was pretty.
If you can get the cards for Luke Green, it's good.
It's very good.
So I sit down. The next game, I sit down across from Luke Green, and he plays fighter. Chewbacca on the fighter.
Oh, you played Damien.
Sitting here.
I got that. I got that.
Damien.
I got that in the last round of the day.
So I played Damien, and I'm sitting there staring at cards that are going to bounce his guy, and I can't now.
Nope.
I can't bounce this guy. I can't, I'm kind of screwed, and so I'm just going to lose. So I ended up using Rio. He only got 1 hit in with it because I used Rio and 2 Starhoppers to take him out. It had six toughness, so I was able to kill it, and it was kind of a 2-for-2 trade. I ended up taking him out. My 2 cards for his 2 cards, and it ended up not being a terrible trade for me. But I was just like, I got to fight through this. And then he puts out it was some big ship. I don't remember what it was. Big fighter, maybe Red 5, maybe bigger.
He
puts Luke on it. He puts Luke on it, and then he puts the twin turbo thing on it. So I don't know. This thing is unkillable. It is so big that I'm like, I can't kill this. So I'm just going to start trying to erase him. So that's when the secret sauce of my deck was to tap things down. So I've got the 3 Death Space Skirmishers. I've got the Mandalorian. That's the card that I drafted for the pilot only because I'm only in single yellow. I'm not going to pay 7 for the stupid Mandalorian. I played 7 for the Mandalorian multiple times, and he won me the game every time. But anyway, I sat there and he had this. He was going to hit me for 9 or 10 every shot with this Luke, and I ended up being able to tap him down just enough that I can squeeze through and snipe him at the end. Just the same way with Ian, where I was about to die. Then I get to the last game, and it's against Anthony, and
that deck was so dumb.
You were all like, "This deck is so dumb."
It was dumb. So for the audience, he had drafted Thrawn yellow. And somehow, in this pot of 11 people, we had managed to pass him 5 CR90 Corvettes, that little 4/6 for 6 that has Restore 2, and then when defeated, heal 3 off your base. And he had
We also gave him 2 Onyxes too. The little ship.
I didn't see any of those.
He played those against me off the bat. I was like, son of a.
He had 5 of those Restore 2 Corvettes in a Thrawn deck, in a 30-card Thrawn deck. Go ahead, Trey.
All right. That was my easiest game of the night. Like when we get to pair it up, like everybody's like, oh, Wes is like, I don't know. I stopped counting after he healed 3,800 damage or whatever.
Quite literally. After he healed 20, I just gave up counting anymore.
Right. So I sit down across from Anthony and I play, I don't know, one of these Star Hoppers because I had 4 and I drew them in every hand. And I play that. And then Anthony puts some ship down and then he puts some great pilot on it. And I'm out here trying to play, what was the ground ship? No, I wanted to play a Shadow Hover Tank. So that's a,
on the ground.
5/3 yellow dude.
On the ground. That's a great card. Great card.
So I wanted to play that, but then he plays some pilot on his ship. And I'm like, well, I can't do anything with my ship now. And he's just going to kill me. So I have to play direct hit on it. So I kill it. So I 2-for-1 him. Oh, that's wonderful. So then I get another hit in, but I didn't get to play my stupid Shadowed Hover Tank. And so then Anthony plays like another dude. And I'm like, all right, I don't care about that guy. I know where this is
going.
And then he plays a pilot on that. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Another direct hit. Let's play that and kill his guy. So now I have run him out of cards because I'm 2-for-1ing him over and over. Finally get to play my Shadowed Hover Tank.
And flip Rio onto it.
Put Rio onto it.
And have an 8/8 Sentinel on the ground.
It's huge. I have an 8/8 Sentinel on the ground. Or not Sentinel, Saboteur, because that's what mattered.
He's Sentinel and Saboteur.
Oh, he is Sentinel. You're right. I'm thinking, but I don't care about that.
The tank is a Sentinel.
So like now I'm squeaking through in the air, getting him doing some damage in the air. I think I put a pilot on. Oh, that was one of the things. I had a ship that I actually played the Mandalorian as a pilot. So he gets the CR90 out that's going to like keep him alive and gain all the life. He gets that. I play the Mandalorian as a pilot in space, tap that guy down. And then I attack, and then like the next turn he does something and I played the Death Space Skirmisher and tap his CR90 down so he doesn't get to attack. So then I attack with my Mandalorian to get him close, and he plays a Sentinel down on the ground. And I'm like, all right, cool. Tap my guy and kill you. And he goes, no, Sentinel. I'm like, Saboteur.
Saboteur, exactly.
Yeah, Saboteur, like the stuff that I like to play the aggressive decks. I'll go for the Luke Green or whatever, but like this tempo based, you get to do a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to stop you and then squeak some damage through. This was a new type of deck for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think Rio's really solid.
I ended up with too many ground units. Like half of my when defeated units were ground units. Okay. And I realized I realized when I was playing Anthony, I was like, I have nothing to stop his CR things.
Yeah.
He had 3 of them out against me and there was nothing I could do. I'm doing like 10 damage on the ground, but he's healing 6 from the air and doing 15. It was just a terrible exchange I kept making over and over again. So that wasn't the greatest draft decision in a JTL jump to Lightspeed draft.
Oh, that's all right.
It's going to be ground strategy.
It's going to be interesting to see how well Legends drafts, right? Because I feel like JTL drafts pretty well.
The best. This has been the best so far.
Well, to me, Spark still is the best draft set they've published.
We had so much trouble getting cards, Wes.
Well, that was what we still drafted Spark back in the day, right?
That's true. Yeah.
They set enough cards aside at Dragon's Lair in the beginning that we drafted every single month. Now, I didn't think Twilight was all that great to draft. I actually kind of enjoyed Shadows, but a lot of people don't. But I think JTL and Spark are the 2 best draft sets for me so far. So I'm really curious to see.
This is a really fun one to draft. I feel like you could do. I feel like if you got in, actually I like this one better than I like Spark because I feel like whoever got it's similar to Luke Green. Whoever got Leia in the draft, which is another common in the Spark draft, had an unfair advantage because once you get Leia, you grab the Rebels and nobody else is really grabbing Rebels. You could win with something else, but Leia usually won a lot of stuff. I feel like there's a lot more valid strateges in this one.
I don't know. 5-flip-4-7 Boba Fett felt pretty strong in that stuff too. I'm just saying.
Especially if somebody lets you put Boba Green together.
Bottom line is awesome. The leader pool in set 1 was pretty solid, like all the way through, and then there were a lot of different ways you could slice it. I mean, Sabine, common leader, outstanding. Leia, common leader, outstanding. Boba, common leader, outstanding. Right? Like it's just so many good options. Even Tarkin in a draft is not a terrible leader. Right? It's not hard to draft Imperials. So it's a really good set to draft. I enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Legends drafts. We don't have too much longer. We can run with this, guys. What else do we want to hit?
I don't know. Anybody got something outside of Destiny they're doing? Destiny. Anybody got somebody outside of
I'm
that
going
they're doing?
I'm gonna get a little change jar. You got to put dollars in every time you forget the name of the game.
I'm going to Lake Charles with my wife for her birthday this weekend. That should be pretty fun.
Outstanding.
Y'all going gambling?
Yeah, we'll do a little gambling. We're going to see Seether, the alternative rock band from the 2000s.
Seether.
Yeah, I know those guys.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go see them in concert. My wife's a big fan, and then we're gonna float around the lazy river on Saturday, drinking margaritas in the lazy river
sounds
pool
like
they
an
have
excellent
there.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's gonna be so great. I'm hoping to be very sunburned when I get back.
Time well spent. Time well spent.
Yeah.
What about you, Trey?
I've been dealing with my daughter graduating.
Right.
Well, first I dealt with my daughter trying to kill herself. My
Please
daughter
don't do that.
is graduating. She was dumb teenagers horsing around with some friends, and she slipped and fell and cracked her head on the cement. And
wow.
one of her friends was horseplaying and
Ow.
caused her to slip and fall. And then so she got a concussion, and I took her to the emergency or the little stop and rob emergency room.
Yeah.
And they did a CT scan. She had a fractured skull.
Oh.
And then when she hit the ground, her brain rattled around in her skull. And so the front of her brain was bruised from the inside of her skull. So she spent a couple of days in the hospital. Ooh, it wasn't ever, they didn't have to do anything, but it was just helping her get through the pain. She's good now, but
good.
What was supposed to be like this big graduation party, and then she walks across the stage. She was able to walk across the stage and have a good time, but we had to postpone all our stuff. So
okay,
I've been dealing with that, staying up at the hospital, holding her hand, rubbing her feet, trying to help her.
She's home now, right?
She's home. She's good. She's been hanging out. She went out tonight and hung out with her friends.
Good.
She's not driving yet, but that was a more eventful end to her high school career. Her career being the child at home than she was really hoping for. So I got that. And speaking of concerts, like a couple of weeks, my wife and I and some friends are going to see Metallica here locally.
Nice.
Metallica's my favorite band of all time.
Could not afford those tickets, my man.
Well, you're going to spend all your money. I don't gamble, so
that's true.
Spend any money gambling. I can spend it all on tickets.
Yeah, me.
They're a great concert.
I've got to keep my head
what about
down.
You, Wes?
No, I've just got to keep my head down and get my streams done, and not spend too much more money, so I can go to Vegas in a few weeks and have money to do things in Vegas.
Oh, I'm designing a bunch of new cards. I'm super excited about it. I've gotten all into designing these promo cards. I have them on Etsy. I list them on Facebook and just the art because I think they're super cool. But anyway, it's fun. I think I've done 3 or 4 so far for the new set. I got Darth Revan, I've got Avar Chris, and I got Kanan that I've done. So and a Force token. That's the 4th one. I did a Force token that I thought was really cool.
seeing the Force token. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to dream this stuff up. Like I dream this picture in my head, and then I go commission somebody to do the art, and it comes out. I like to see the thing that I had in my head created, and it's exciting.
Nice, awesome. All right, guys, we want to wrap it up here and see you guys again in a couple of weeks after we've had a PQ here in Houston.
Yeah,
that a good?
Sounds good.
Good, awesome. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. See you. Good luck.